Today, we're going to talk about funding for veterans. We're going to talk about some very unique options that work if you are a veteran in the military. So we're going to talk about a lot of cool options that are available that you're able to get approved for right now. Even if you're starting a business, even if you have credit issues, we're going to talk about options that will work for you. By the end of this, you're going to know at least probably 8 to 10 different ways that you're able to get funding as a veteran-owned business and ways that you can get better terms on funding by being a veteran-owned business. So let's dive in. A lot to cover. So first of all, a lot of vets are actually starting businesses. According to the U.S. Census in 2015, U.S. veteran-owned firms made up 7.2% of the 5.5 million American employer businesses. Almost 400,000 businesses were majority owned by veterans. And in 2016, over 1 million vets lived in 3 states, California, Florida, and Texas. So some interesting stats I found in the research of doing this presentation. Now, per the SBA in 2012, there were 5.8 million employees of veteran-owned companies. And in 2007, the top 10 industries included construction, real estate, transportation, and warehousing. And all of these industries and the other 7 in the top 10 require working capital, right? It's the one thing that's unique. I love stats. So I thought it would be cool to talk a little bit about how many employees in this country actually belong to veteran-owned businesses and how many veteran-owned businesses are really out there. Because the one thing everyone that owns a business that's a vet has in common is that we need to get capital, okay? So very much thank you for your service. And let's talk about some ways today that you're able to get funding, a lot of unique ways you might not know about. Starting with the SBA Veterans Advantage. So the SBA provides free relief on small dollar loans. This helps to reduce barriers for veteran-owned businesses. And this way you can access more capital, create jobs, which is ultimately what they want you to do, right? The SBA uses a credit scoring model to help reduce underwriting cost and processing time. So this is a way with Veterans Advantage that you're actually able to come in and get funding with SBA basically waiving or greatly reducing the fees that you may pay. So for loans of $150,000 or less, the upfront guarantee fee is $0. There's a $0 fee with Veterans Advantage. When it comes to SBA Express loans, the upfront guarantee is also $0. So Veteran Express loans are a way that you're able to even get approval within 72 hours from the VA or from SBA. And then the funding process is typically about a third as long as it normally is with a regular SBA loan. Now, for loans not through SBA Express, the upfront guarantee fee for loans to veteran-owned businesses for $150,000 and up include $500,000 is 50% less, or up to $500,000 is 50% less than the guarantee fee for non-veteran-owned businesses. So if you're under 150, they waive the fee altogether. If you're over 150,000 up to that 500,000 range, you pay half of what you pay as a fee if you were a non-veteran-owned business. Now, loans for over 12 months, the fee is 1.5% in that case. Loans for 12 months or less, the fee is about 1/8% of the guarantee part, to give you a little bit more information. Hola, Jack, thanks for joining us. And Derry, thanks for joining us from YouTube as well. From one vet to another, I appreciate your service. Same here. Thank you very much. And happy Veterans Day to all of the vets. I thought it was creative that we did this presentation on Veterans Day. So thank you all for your service. So when it comes to loans of $500,000 and $1 and up, including $5 million, the upfront guarantee for 7A loans. Now, 7A is the normal working capital loan with SBA. Made to veteran-owned small businesses, depends on the loan amount and the term. For loans with a term of over 12 months, guarantee fees for loans over $500,000 up to $700,000 is 3% of the guarantee part. Loans of $700,000 to $5 million, $700,000 to $5 million is 3.5% of the guarantee part, plus 3.75% of the guarantee part over $1 million. For loans for 12 months or less, the guarantee fee is 0.25% of the guarantee part. Look, all you need to know is this. For Veterans Advantage, you pay either no fee or a greatly reduced fee, which is a fraction of one a non-veteran-owned business will pay. And of course, how much you'll pay really depends on the loan amount and the term of the loan. But you still have a phenomenal opportunity to pay significantly less fees with Veteran Advantage. So let's talk about qualifying. A small business must be at least 51% owned and controlled by the person in these groups. Honorably discharged veterans, active duty military service members eligible for the military's transition assistance program, active reservists and or active National Guards, or current spouse of any veteran, active duty service member, reservist, National Guard member, or the widowed spouse of a service member who died while in service or as a result of a service-connected disability. I went ahead and gave you the link as well if you want to take a screenshot to learn more about this program. It's a phenomenal opportunity to basically waive any fees that you may pay or greatly reduce the fees that you may pay as a veteran as a nice thank you from SBA for your service. So let's talk about the Military Reservist Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. Wow, that's a mouthful. Or the MREIDL, which is still a mouthful. So let's dive in and talk. Loans up to $2 million are to eligible small businesses with this program. The purpose of these loans is to cover operating costs that cannot be met due to the loss of an essential employee called to active duty in the Reserves or National Guard. And this one comes directly from government benefits. So again, what's nice here is that if you're in the National Guard, if you're a reservist and you need to get shipped out, then this actually gives the employer an incentive to cover the cost of you being gone while you're gone. And so the nice thing is that this program isn't necessarily directly for veterans, but it helps employers actually hire veterans. So it helps us. We are really big on Credit Suite hiring veterans. I think everybody should be because they're phenomenal employees. But that being said, this gives those people that employ veterans that opportunity to be able to get financial compensation when they may be out, when you may be out and called into duty. So again, really cool program, not directly for veterans, but then gives employers the ability to hire more veterans, which I think is very important. Let's talk about SBA coronavirus disaster relief. Veterans, like other American business owners, may qualify for an EIDL advanced loan or loan. Now, these can be up to $10,000. Actually, this is actually inaccurate now. We just stopped the actual the advanced loans. The the advances have stopped up to $10,000. They used to have the EIDL advances up to $10,000 that you're able to get as a grant. It's free money, doesn't have to be paid back. The advances are now gone, and now they still have EIDL loans. So you can still get an EIDL loan as a veteran, and these loans, even they say you can get up to $2 million. We see that all the loans are basically up to $150,000. So you still can qualify for a loan through the SBA, known as an EIDL or an Economic Injury Disaster Loan. The term is 30 years, and you can get approved for a 3 3/4% interest, 3.75%, if you are a for-profit company, and a 2 3/4% interest if you are a nonprofit company. So some things to think about. And Venus says, I appreciate you doing this. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning in. And Travel says, SPC Smith, this will come in handy. I have a phone interview today to start my own franchise. Perfect. We're going to talk about several ways you can get money to do so right here. Thank you for your service, Brian. Thank you for that. And shout out to all from LinkedIn. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate you sharing this amazing knowledge. Thank you very much. Thanks everybody for tuning in for YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, LinkedIn. Everybody's in here today, and I appreciate you tuning in. Okay, so Service Disabled Veteran Owned Small Business Concern Program. Funding can also come in the form of preferences for contracting work. The federal government's goal is to award at least 3% of all federal contracting dollars to service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses each year. So to qualify, businesses must be at least 51% owned or controlled by one or more service-disabled vets and have one or more service-disabled vets manage day-to-day operations and also make long-term decisions. Eligible vets must have a service-connected disability. And if you do, then again, the nice thing about this program is that when you bid on government contracts, you have a huge advantage because some of those contracts are actually set aside just for, again, service-disabled vets. So again, not necessarily funding to get to own or start a business, but it makes it easier when you own a business to be able to bid on government contracts and have an advantage in bidding on those government contracts. So if you're a service-disabled vet, great program to make it easier for you to bid on those government contracts. Street Shares Foundation, one of my favorite programs in the funding world for veterans. And the reason for that is that this company was founded by veterans to really create funding for veterans. That's really to do with their main mission. And this is a 501c, so it's a nonprofit organization, and its programs provide access to capital opportunities, educational content, mentors, coaching, and networking events built to serve military community entrepreneurs nationwide. Now, the grant program, the Veterans Small Business Award, provides a financial support to help vets start or grow their own business. So again, the nice thing here is that it's an actual award. It's a grant. It doesn't even have to be paid back. So we got to love free money that doesn't have to be paid back. Okay, you can apply with basically a video pitch, tell the foundation about the business and its social impact on the military community, and awards run from $2,500 to $15,000. This cycle has not been yet announced. So again, you have an opportunity here. You have an opportunity in 2021. Again, this is free money. It doesn't have to be paid back. And what I like about this is this gives you an opportunity to start a business. So we actually just heard from somebody that's actually getting ready to come in and actually start a new business or start a franchise, this is a great opportunity because your average business needs about $10,000 to get off the ground. Not saying everybody does, but that's on average. And this falls right within this range. And again, this is a gift. It doesn't have to be paid back. It's basically free money. Now, qualified applicants submit their pitch video via video, which you talked about. 8 to 15 finalists are chosen, then voted on at the foundation's website. And awards are as follows: $15,000 for the first place, okay, $6,000 for second place, and $4,000 for third place. So you have an opportunity, if you're one of the top three, to get as little as $4,000 and as much as $15,000 with this. Now, applicant must be a veteran, reservist, or transitioning active duty member of the U.S. Armed Forces, spouse of military member, or the child or immediate member, a family member of a military member who died on active duty. They must identify as a female, be a U.S. person, and at least 21 years of age. So something to consider there. Applicants must own at least 51% of the business entity described in the application. And the grant funding award is approved for veterans and military spouses who are low income or otherwise lack financial means and have a goal to start or grow an early stage business or nonprofit venture. So something to keep in mind. Now, I didn't actually, when I heard Street Shares, I kind of misspoke because I talked about them being an organization founded by veterans for veterans. There's also another company out there called Street Shares that I was referring to. And what Street Shares does is they do what's called peer-to-peer lending. And with peer-to-peer lending, you have private individuals just like you and I that put money in, and the money is pulled together and then lent out to borrowers. Well, Street Shares was founded by veterans. A lot of their funding is for veterans. It's one of the best funding options I've ever seen for veterans. You don't need to have good credit. You can get approved with about a 600, 620 credit score. You don't need to have long time in business as well. If you're a veteran, you have a huge advantage to be able to get approved, and you're able to get approved for funding in the hundreds of thousands of dollars range. And you're also able to get loans and lines of credit. So again, it's a company called Street Shares. And what I like about Street Shares is that it's people like us, regular people that pull money together through a platform that Street Shares owns. And then they basically connect backers, people that have money to give, with borrowers, people that want money. And typically today, we find that this kind of funding through peer-to-peer lending is way easier to get than what you're going to find with conventional banks, and also with a lot of fintech, with a lot of alternative lenders. So couple different options here. We've got the Street Shares Award, and then we've also got the Street Shares company itself that does peer-to-peer lending. So some other creative options if you're looking to start a business or get funding for a business, that makes it way easier to get funding than a lot of other options that are out there. Okay, and Tony says, great training, especially on Veterans Day. I'm a service-disabled veteran-owned woman-owned minority business. Well, thank you very much for your service, and this could work very well for you. And again, it's free money. A lot of people don't know about it, so it's worth applying. Venus says, I'm trying to learn how to bid on contracts now. Perfect. We just got covered you too, because this will help you win those contracts. Now you know you have an advantage being a veteran-owned business. And thank you for your service. I appreciate everybody tuning in and saying that same thing. Collateral-based financing. So collateral-based financing offers very low rates, typically 2%, 3%, 4, 5%. Financing is available for veterans and non-veterans, but a lot of preferential treatment if you are a veteran. Personal credit quality doesn't matter. Revenue doesn't matter. So all the stuff will work for you, even if you are a nonprofit. And even if you are a startup business, these funding will still work for you as well. You can use account receivables, letting your customers pay you on terms and get financing against that. So with AR financing, you can borrow as much as 90% of what your customers are paying you on terms and get it advanced to you in as little as 24 hours. So think of it like this. It's easier for you to offer funding for your customers when you do this, because they can pay you over 5, 6, 7, 8 months. And instead of you waiting 5, 6, 7, 8 months to get paid, the lender advances you as much as 90% of what's due within 24 hours. So you can let your customers pay you on terms and still get most of your money within 24 hours. Purchase order financing works really good even for startups. This is where you might have purchase orders you need to fulfill, but you don't want to spend your own money to actually fulfill the purchase orders. The lender will give you a letter of credit, will actually go to the supplier that's going to give you the supplies, give them the letter of credit. They'll pay the supplier. You get the supplies. You can get as much as 95% financing with this. So you pay very little money towards those actual supplies you need to fulfill your orders. You get funding for the rest. You fulfill the orders, deliver the product, and then you pay off the purchase order financing. So a really creative way for you to come out and be able to get purchase orders from companies and be able to get the supplies you need to fill those orders without coming out of pocket with that money. 401k, IRA, stocks, and bonds. You or somebody else may have these, maybe a family member, maybe a friend, maybe a potential investor. You can leverage those to get interest rates of about 5% on credit lines and or loans. 75% of business owners get money from family and friends. And the reality is it's easier to go to my dad and ask him to let me use his stocks as collateral and get a line of credit for the money I need, instead of asking my dad to liquidate his stocks and then give me the cash from that. Because with this, they still earn interest on the stocks and bonds. They still get a rate of return. The only way they lose is if you default. And if they gave you cash and you didn't pay it back, they would lose that money anyways. So again, it's a nicer, easier way to get money from family and friends and tap into your own stocks, bonds, 401ks, and IRAs. We had a client that was a veteran, also was starting a bar, couldn't even get 25 grand at his own bank and got 750,000 in financing using that program. Inventory or equipment, if you have inventory or if you have equipment, you can leverage those to borrow against to get money for your business. You can also get money specifically for those purposes. So several people here are starting businesses. Well, if you're starting a business and you need a big piece of equipment or you need inventory, you can use inventory or equipment financing to actually get the equipment or to get the inventory that you actually need. So you're actually able to come in and get the financing you need using inventory equipment as leverage to either buy the inventory equipment or to leverage against inventory equipment that you already have. So some things here, some other options I want to throw in there are commercial real estate, residential real estate, commercial vehicles. If you have any of those type of things, you can leverage those to be able to borrow against, or again, you can get financing for those purposes. Right now, we're helping a lot of people buy the properties that they currently are in renting with SBA 504 financing. And again, we're also helping a lot of people buy a commercial property because it's a great deal right now with little to no money down with multiple different kinds of commercial financing. So it gives you the opportunity to buy buildings or leverage against real estate, vehicles, things like that you already own. Okay. So again, credit doesn't matter. Revenue doesn't matter. These options can work for you even as a startup business. Now, we've also got the most popular program, the Credit Line Hybrid program, and this is unsecured funding, 0% interest rates for up to 18 months. Okay. And the nice thing about this is that you're able to get funding in as little as 3 weeks. Your revenue doesn't matter. So it works for a startup business as well. You could take cash out of this funding. So that means you get credit lines that you can actually take the cash out of and take the cash out at 0%. Plus, a lot of these report to the Business Credit Reporting Agency. So you're building business credit at the same time that you're actually getting money. You don't need tax returns. You don't need bank statements. So you can get approved even as a startup company. All you need to be able to get approved is about a 680 FICO score. If you have a 680 FICO score for you or a guarantor, you can get approved for as much as $150,000 or 5 times the amount of your highest credit limit account. And we have a lot of veterans that come in and do this program as well. So something else to consider, even if you're a startup, you're able to qualify. It says 700 FICO scores, but again, even with the 680 FICO score, you're able to get approved, and you're able to get approved even as a startup business. Okay, so Boots to Business Reboot can still be helpful. It's not necessarily a funding program, but Boots to Business is a 2-step entrepreneurial program offered by SBA on military installations around the world. It's a training track of the Department of Defense Transition Assistance Program. And again, this program, the transition assistance, is to transition soldiers into civilian life, which a lot of us have a hard time transitioning because of the camaraderie that we experience in the military. Getting out without that camaraderie, it's difficult for a lot of soldiers. A lot of soldiers have problems with this. So the Transition Assistance Program, TAP, is designed to help with that. And with Boots to Business, it gives you the training that you need to get into the world as an entrepreneur and really start and grow your own business. So Boots to Business Reboot extends the entrepreneurship training offered in TAP on military installations to veterans of all areas in the communities, and spouses are also eligible to participate. So again, I found that veterans are very, very good entrepreneurs just because of the way that we're brought up in the military, the principles that we're taught, that and the discipline that we have makes us very good as business owners. But the problem is that it's a steep learning curve to own a business. So Boots to Business is one of these programs that makes it easier for you to actually get the training you need as a veteran-owned business in order to succeed. So a lot of different programs that we talked about today. Some programs will directly help you get funding. Some will help you get funding faster through things like the SBA Express. Okay, we've also got grants that we talked about today, free money that works for veterans that doesn't have to be paid back. Getting preferential treatment to bid on government contracts is still another way to go. We've talked about using collateral as a way to get funding, using credit as a way to get funding through the Credit Line Hybrid program. As your business gets up and going and you even have revenue, then there's a lot of lenders that will lend you money based on that revenue through the form of loans and credit lines, and they give preferential treatment to veterans as well. We also talked about the Street Shares Foundation, and we talked about Street Shares, the company in the peer-to-peer lending space. One of the best options that you're going to find out there today easier to qualify for than what you're going to find typically with conventional funding or fintech lenders. And don't forget, if we can help you along the way, let us know. 877-600-2487, creditsuite.com/get funding. We never charge you any money to get funding. Of course, you'll pay rates and terms to the lenders, normal as you would with any kind of funding, but we negotiate that to even get you better terms. We'll get you all the funding you can get now and graduate you all the way up to SBA loans, help you understand what's needed to get long-term, low interest rate financing, and never charge you a dime of money. Okay, it's free to work with us. That's something that we do. And again, we really cater to veterans as well. So if we can help you get funding along the way, give us a call. Go to creditsuite.com/get funding to get approved. If you got value from this, then every Tuesday, Thursday at 1 and 11 o'clock on Wednesday, we go live. You can access our live training on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can also access a ton of past training on our social channels. So if you got value from this, hit that like button, hit the love button. I appreciate that. It tells the social channels this is good information and they show it to more people. If you haven't subscribed yet and you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe, click the bell beside subscribe, click select all, and we'll notify you when we go live. And don't forget our podcast, the Business Credit Financing Show. That's a very special gem because not only do we talk about ways to get money, but we have experts come on and teach you all kinds of things, like how to start a business, how to grow a business, how to choose the right product, how to sell a business, how to get the most value for your business when you do sell, how you can start saving for retirement, how you should organize your finances. All those kind of things we dive into on our podcast, the Business Credit Financing Show. And we have a playlist on YouTube with a lot of those podcasts as well. So make sure you check that out today. And Robert says, what if your credit isn't that good? A lot of options here. So the way I explain this is when we look at lending, we look at really 4 C's: cash flow, credit, collateral, and the fourth is really like a cosigner, right? So if you don't have good credit, don't have revenue, don't have collateral, a cosigner may have assets you can use. We talked about some of those options today. They may have credit you can tap into and use them as a signer or guarantor to actually get financing. If credit's bad, then we've got to look at another C, which is cash flow or collateral. So that's what you want to look into. Is we want to look at sources where you actually can use collateral to get financing. We talked about a bunch of options. Cash flow to get financing. We talked about merchant cash advances and revenue lending here as we wrapped up. Even places like PayPal, Square, they have really good programs as well where you can come in and get up to 30% of the money you process in a month with them, and you don't need to have good credit. So if you're just starting your business, start running money through PayPal, Square, because PayPal and Square have great programs that can get you up to 30% of your revenue if you've been processing with them for about 6 months or more. And then it depends on the kind of business you're in. If you're in an e-commerce business, for example, and you've sold over $150,000 worth of stuff on Amazon, there's several crowdfunding options out there that can work for you. One of them is KickFurther, and I love KickFurther. You can go to creditsuite.com/inventory to access them. There's also other sources and specific funding through Barclays Bank, through Marcus, through Bank of America that can help you get specified funding as an Amazon seller, for example, or if you have a Shopify store. So a lot of different options that can help you, that can work even if you have credit issues, Robert. Hopefully that helps. And plus, as a veteran and owner of CBD business, I come across a lot of hiccups because of the nature of my company. It's very true because you're in a high-risk industry. So CBD, we've got to look at a high-risk industry. And that being said, you've got to get funding that caters to high-risk industries. So let me give you an example. We've got a lot of funding that's specified specifically for the cannabis industry. And I know CBD necessarily isn't in the cannabis industry, but a lot of the cannabis lenders that we find will also work for CBD. So if you have consistent revenue, if you have collateral, even if you have good credit, any of these options I talked about today will work for you, even being in the CBD business. So I'm pretty sure almost all of these, even including street shares, can work for you as well. You just need to find a funding program that works for a high-risk industry. SBA loans are not your best choice, but a lot of the other programs we talked about today can definitely help you. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Thank you so much for your service. I'm very indebted for what you've done for our country and what you continue to do. Hopefully this helps give you a lot of different cool ways that you can get money as a veteran-owned business. And don't forget, if we can help you along the way, give us a call, 877-600-2487. On a call with us, we will help you get your business credit reports for free. It costs $250 if you go to the bureaus direct. We go over those with you. We give you tips and tactics to help you build your business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your social. We do a fundability assessment to see how fundable your business is, help you correct the things that are wrong that get a lot of you turned down that you don't even realize are getting you turned down. And then we also will qualify you for all funding you can get now. We'll tell you all the money that you're able to get now All of those things happen on a consultation call. This is 100% free to do. So give us a call, 877-600-2487. And I appreciate you all tuning in. Look forward to seeing you on our next training where we talk about more cool ways to get money for your business. Thanks, everybody. Happy Veterans Day. And thank you all veterans for your service.